I posted a poll on YouTube asking, are collections in AQ3D too expensive? I'd love to hear what you think of the current pricing of collections. Out of 488 votes, 85% said yes, too expensive. 8% said no, and 7% said I don't play AQ3D. There are 87 comments. Now, some of them will be edited out during the editing process, but let's get going. See what the players think. They used to be 5,000 or lower. A consistent price made people motivated to buy and never worry of it getting more expensive every year. That's how I see it. I would say 4K DC just for collections. The old collections should be obtainable and be able to be picked up from the bank. I spent hundreds of dollars just to get most of the old collection items, and if I accidentally delete an item, it's gone. And so are my DCs that I bought it with. From the old collections, I think they should be able to get older collections in a bundle for even a little bit more DC than what it was back when it was originally came out for. That's an interesting idea. So instead of having that at like 7,000, have it at like 6,000 or something. For example, the summer collection is just one armor set, one travel form, and one pet, but recolor others. The old collection, like Pirate, it offers 2 suits. Even some collections offer 2 different pets and travel form, but they cost 5,500 DC before. Cannot tell me some of these collections are worth 7,000. Don't care if it's a, oh, you can't get them normally and we're giving you a chance now, so it's going to be more expensive. Like, come on, man. While I understand the reason for the price jump, I felt 7K is a bit much. 6K maybe. I've seen this mentioned on Discord and Twitter as well, saying maybe 6K would be a more affordable price because 7K feels too much. What do you guys think? Well, definitely depends on what offers in the collection, which if it's just a few things, it shouldn't be as expensive as ones that offer a lot more. Example, you wouldn't pay the same for a bike as you would for a car. Yes, it's not just collections that cost increase, it's the reduction of content of the said collections as well. Like we were told there was going to be a class skin in the collection, instead it was sold separately. There seems to be a huge money grab recently. Stuff like 1 week limited time that'll go legacy, like the mashers that double in price in 1 week for reskin versions that were not anywhere nearly as cool as a crystal version. In fact, if you want a silver one, you can go farm the original in Doomwood for free in like 10 minutes. Plus, they already don't respect legacy items. Collections were supposed to be legacy. You can buy the individual items after the fact, the titles, and sometimes the items were advertised at the time to go legacy. A prime example would be Ricketts. It was advertised as a sales tactic that he would go legacy after the collection left, and he did. Still marked legacy on the wiki. I'm sure that'll be changed. You couldn't buy him in the years following, but now they're reselling the skin as included. They're definitely struggling financially, and people like myself who have been literally spending thousands over the years just get a slap in the face with the reselling of the collections. I believed and trusted them when they said collections would never return and spent years purchasing every single piece of gear from the 2 years worth of collections that were prior to me starting to play AQ3D. Stuff that's already eating my already maxed limit vault space. Wow, maxed limit, which I can't even get a reply from the devs when or even if they will increase the max vault. This is something, I mean, if people have already hit the maximum of vaults that you can buy in the bank, there's no reason why AE can't increase the max vault. So devs, increase the max vaults. I'll have to start deleting my OG collection next Saga release if I want anything new now, because I supported the company for years by buying the individual items from the collections, every monthly promo, and a ton of DC items from seasonal events like Cyber Monday and Black Friday. I'm not even going to get into the BS of the lack of respect for players' time and their assets they paid for, like the Nolgath pass that can be purchased to gold farm quests getting nerfed. The class skin was excluded from the summer collection probably because it was a high quality class skin, to be fair, and the animator's work is too expensive to just include it in the collection, additionally with the set that comes with it. And I mean, that's true because the summer collection was pretty big in itself. Collection itself makes up for its value since it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest collections in the game, and putting the skin there would just be an overdue. I agree with you. The legacy items, though, when it comes out, is not keeping the word. I don't think these bought items are meaningful at all, not like AK or the beta items. Personally, I don't mind other people having access to something exclusive to us, what we bought in the release. However, they could have kept their word and excluded the titles from the past collections. Also, the free-to-play pets making a lot of gold. The paid ones weren't really relevant to the gold farm. Oh, that's true. So the ones that you buy with the DC wasn't really for the gold farm. It was the ones that you unlock at the Nulgath servants ones. The trend seems to be collections with less items for a higher price. It's actually more items, isn't it? As time passes, we get fewer and fewer items while the collections are getting more and more expensive. It started to feel like a ripoff a couple of years ago. I feel that it is just bad quality control if all collections were always, for example, 16 pieces, one title, one mount, one travel form, armor set, and 7 alternate weapons. For 5k DC, I'd be happy, but then the bundle for both the seasonal collection and class skin collection, if they released together for 7k DC, and the class skin separate for 2.5k. This would also keep dev costs down to a science, knowing how much it costs to make one collection of varying type and how much you get back in return. I understand them wanting more money, but they only just started tapping the resource that is class skins consistently. Obviously intending for a class skin for every class, being patient to see those return instead of blasting prices to adverse reaction from the player base would have been wise. Also, the quality of class skins seem to vary dramatically, like the Curse Weaver being very basic, and then the Dark Caster or the Sunset Warrior being insanely detailed to the point of buffing classes. Wait, how do they buff classes? If you guys could do me a favor and tap that like button, smash the subscribe, and hit the notification if you want to stay up to date with all of my content. Interacting with this video will help other people find it, which in turn will help this small YouTube channel grow. I'd really appreciate it. Also, feel free to join the Raven Squad. You can tap that join button down below for more details. They are expensive, but worth it. Buying individual pieces is way more expensive and encourages bundle purchases. And that is true. Like a lot of the collections that we have, if you were to buy them individual, would cost a lot more. Save, of course, for the 2017 Pirate Collection. You don't get very much for that, but I mean, it's a returning thing, so I guess that's the excuse. Funny, and the whole gold is ruining the economy, but ridiculous price hikes in DC. Clarion might not be the person with the best vision for the future, but I don't know if it's Clarion who's setting the prices of DC. I mean, that might be above his pay grade. I don't know. The answer is too obvious. Yes, too expensive. The problem is not that the collections are expensive. Compared to previous collections, the current ones lack quality and creativity, not to mention that they have many fewer items than the previous ones. Really? This is the second person who has said this. I thought there was more, but maybe I'm wrong. The price is good, but it's not worth it. Besides, reselling previous collections is not something that old collectors like too much. And I mean, that's true. I could understand that. Yes, but luckily most of the collections don't interest me. So I save up, and when there's one that I'd like, I can spend it then. And that's what I do. I buy collections that if I like a collection, I'll buy it. But if I don't like it, I'm not going to buy it because I don't need to collect everything. Hot take, they were overpriced for a collection like in 2017, which barely had anything in it. But a collection today, like the summer 2025 collection, is definitely underpriced and could easily go for 10k DC. So all in all, 7k for a collection is totally fair if the equality and quantity is present within. 5k DC for such collections is just players being greedy. They sell cosmetics, which is by far the most user-friendly way to make money. Most players are just greedy and out of touch. I mean, if you look at each item individually, it'll come up way past the price of the whole collection. So lowering it would make it no-brain to get it that way. I think it's perfect where it's at. They were expensive according to given items and now more expensive. Well, to be honest, it is expensive, and as they made old collections purchasable in that sense, it is given to be worth. So, I mean, returning the old collections, definitely people seem to like it, although some of the old collectors probably not so much. I'm not opposed to them bringing back the old collections. It did surprise me they were at the price point they were. I mean, just the recent gold nerf that killed 5 farming pets that can only be bought by DC. Will AQ3D compensate? I think not. Their stubborn nerfs will only lead to more inflation of DC while making it harder and harder to play the game. They have to adjust today's economy. Like it or not, most things can't stay in the past, especially an indie game company. Everybody can't be Arizona Brisk NFT. 7K for those outdated pirate collections is unjustified. Also, they're just stamping everything with legacy. They're just straight up recolors, nothing unique about it, and the prices, they went crazy fast on those maces. They did go up fast because, I mean, the first maces we got were 500, and then we got the silver and gold maces for 1,000, literally double the price, which surprised a lot of people, including me. So anyways, we'll see what the adjustments are going forward. Also, I would love to see more actual unique non-reskins. I've seen a lot of people mentioning the reskins. So if they could get the modeler to just create a ton of different unique looking items, would probably be a whole lot better. People would actually possibly consider purchasing unique items rather than reskins. 7K DC is too expensive in my opinion. If the price is around 4K or 5K, it still works. If you're spending money for a collection, might as well get a calendar collection. Stays with all of your accounts. I think he's referring to the Hero Mart ones maybe, because that stays with your AQ World. You can put that on your AQ World account, on your AQ3D, and so on. Every game has become far too expensive. Well, that's true. No, any other MMO would charge more for less items, or more for a single item, which I have actually seen that. I mean, Fortnite, good lord, that will eat your wallet alive. It's just that players are oblivious, saying everything's overpriced instead of research. You can literally research about prices in different MMOs and see AQ3D's prices are below average as they are currently. I'm not sure where people get overpriced from, but this looks like prices are equivalent to quality the game provides. Below average. AQ3D sure is expensive because this is an MMO. This expense comes from MMOs being the most budget demanding genre. I think people often overlook budget demands for development has a lot to do with the prices in the game. In other words, these prices determine what we get in return. Revenue generation is also worth a mention. AQ3D is a free-to-play game, and as always, its only ways to generate revenue are collections, Hero Mart, ads, and one-time membership purchase, mostly IAPs. And that one-time membership purchase, I don't know. I mean, in a way that kind of hurts AQ3D, but I mean, would people want to pay a monthly thing to have access to more exclusive? I don't know. This is highly possible that these collections make up for about 65 to 75% of AQ3D's revenue. A cash grab would be rather paying a monthly subscription to play the game and then enforcing microtransactions instead of content-filled expansion packs only. So right here, he's referencing AQ World. I don't think he's directly referencing AQ World, but you pay a monthly subscription to get access to member-only items in AQ World, not to mention classes and other stuff. It's pay to win. And then enforcing microtransactions. You still buy stuff with real life currency that are not members only stuff. You don't get those things for free. So AQ3D did not go that direction at all. Have you ever tried to count how much you would need to spend per month in order to obtain every collection in a year? That's about $17 per month. A question: do you think AQ3D generates enough money to carry itself? Of course, we don't have the access to their financial charts. However, I often see people assuming AQ3D has enough money from months of development. I highly doubt that. I mean, just based on the fact alone that there were developers just, several months ago or a year ago, there was a whole ton of AQ3D developers that were let go. This is obviously because of financial strains. So AQ3D itself has to pay its own share to dev salaries, even cover the full cost of some if they work on AQ3D only, pay off servers, generate profit for the company, generate money for development investments, etc. Knowing how small the player base is, and maybe half or less of them is making purchases, it is arguable that they don't already withdraw funds from their other games to keep AQ3D running, or barely make a profit off AQ3D. If we had to base off something like this, as some players do, obviously we can't be sure about it, but rather less likely. This brings me up to a question. Would, if the prices of collections or stuff were reduced, would more casual players buy it, or is AQ3D surviving on the whales who can purchase the more expensive stuff? What do you guys think? Many collections are barely one set and were not worth a 3 to 4K back then, let alone 7K now. So I believe he's referring to the older collections like the 2017, because you don't get very much, and I mean 7K for something like that does seem a bit pricey. Not only are the collections expensive, but AQ3D has been boring since Clarion came in. That's actually not, that doesn't have anything to do with Clarion, actually. That's just the lack of developers working on the game. Clarion is literally the only reason this game will be going anywhere. They literally brought him in to save the game, but before anything fresh can be added, he has to fix 10 years of AE's accumulated mistakes. Clarion has put more than any previous head dev, yet none of the previous ones ever got the backlash. Well, actually, I think every lead dev has always taken a backlash. Spellforges is a huge game changer towards making power farming more meaningful. Same with the gold nerf. He brought in heroic skills as well. Mounts, higher quality skins, reworking model aesthetics. That is so crazy. Even when I go to the new bank, I'm still overwhelmed by it. It's so different. Literally went back in time to bring some long promised things, which is true. We got the werewolf summon. It's not as good as I was hoping, but it's still, at least we got it. It's just that people don't appreciate it either because they're impatient to wait for an overhaul to complete, or because they want the game to be 99% fashion, 1% power farming, unlike normal MMOs where it's 50-50. The one thing Clarion is terrible at, though, is balancing classes, skills, and mobs. I wouldn't necessarily say balancing classes and skills. I don't really see an issue with those. I definitely see an issue with mobs. Like they take too long to kill, but I don't know if that's exactly his fault. They also need someone in the team to make good dungeons like Dagger made. If you guys were not around for when Dagger made dungeons, oh man. I mean, just the Tengu is a good example of one of the dungeons he made. He was a genius. Clarion keeps making people leave the game and making the game boring. Oh really? What's the source of this information? Charts prove you wrong. I literally took a look at the charts and clearly it shows people started quitting back when Fanal was in charge. Fanal was never in charge. Players' numbers hasn't really passed for the past few years. Clarion makes the game boring, so why didn't we get new summer event maps until Clarion came in? Why didn't previous head devs make righteous event maps for Chocolate Pirate? Why didn't they go back in time to fulfill long-term promises like Clarion? Why they kept gold completely devalued for such a long time? Why they forgot about the class skins? Why they made paid quest pets? Why didn't they start fixing the early game? Why didn't they raise standards for new map aesthetics? Wow. What can you even say about previous head devs? That they had Dagger, who was loved for his dungeons and keeping the game fun, which is someone Clarion doesn't have in his team. Are you sure it's Clarion to blame? I realize it costs money to obtain a game. However, prices have gotten a little crazy. Rather than advertise and get more players, they charge the current players way too much. $20 American is plenty for a collection. Any more than that is just greedy. They need to focus more on getting important things done and less on pointless things like a saga mode that is pointless until they get more done on the main game. The summer event could have been at Heroes Cove and just added new things instead of spend all the time designing a new map and no one goes to the old one because there's no reason to. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. I do like the new beach, but why not already use an established map and then just change it up a little bit? You don't have to buy every chest. What's wrong with you people? AE is based in America, so the line must go up. This is including everything: rent, groceries, car insurance, etc. It would be unrealistic for video games to be the same price forever while the developer's costs keep increasing. I think the price of a chest should be based on the value of what's inside, but that's pretty subjective. I won't argue on the price, but this is not normal. Some of the updates this past few months are just focused on collections. We've only gotten some small improvements. What's happening? We're funding the game and they gave us more funding updates? Seriously? They cost more equals I don't like that. They brought them all back and I will buy all of them. I do like that, but my wife will unalive me. I don't think they are expensive. A 7K collection can be unlocked by 3 months of ad farming without even touching the daily chests. Really? Whoa. With them into the mix goes lower to like 2 months of farming. On top of this, every collection has no stats, purely cosmetic from the ground up. Therefore, it is not a necessary evil to play the game nor to enjoy it. Not to mention, there's like a ton of travel forms and stuff you can get for free these days. We already have an insane amount of free-to-play assets available in the cosmetics department to achieve almost every need for fashion or self-expression. Of course, DC sets are nicer, but at the end of the day, they're a premium array of assets intended to be a direct way to support support the game itself. To conclude, if 7K DC for a collection is too expensive for you, dear reader, ask yourself, why does it feel like this? Is it because for almost a decade those collections were dirt cheap and prices never got fixed to the economic changes, and thus AQ3D was producing content that wasn't making enough money to sustain itself in the long run? And actually, that is true. Then you are only interested in your own gain, which is fair, but be honest about it. Like it or not, a free-to-play MMO is entitled to fairly price its cosmetic assets, and 7K DC for a collection is more than fair, not only due to the current economic landscape, but also in the time required to buy it through the free-to-play method, ad farming. Stop nerfing stuff that don't need nerfing. It's a grinding game where you play dress up. Please shut down AQ3D now. What? Honestly, as a 6-year-old player, I think he means a player who's been playing for 6 years, I can say AQ3D is run by a bunch of greedy fools. Also, their servers are crap. Glad I left this garbage. You wouldn't know greed if it stole your bank account. Look at literally every other online game. If they were as greedy as you say, you wouldn't be able to buy whole collections or the individual parts. They'd be loot boxes where you're a slave to RNG, with the best stuff having the same odds as King's Ransom. And that's true. Well, there's a lot of games that run with this loot box system where you're paying with real life gold and you don't even know what you're going to get. And that's kind of not cool. In AQ World, a collection is 10K. So take it or leave it. Wow, I never even thought about that, but it's true. Every collection, almost every collection in AQ World is 10,000 adventure coins. I get that, but this is an AQ World and we don't have the player base. I don't mind spending some money on the game, but whatever the collection cost when it was made is what it should cost. So he's talking about the past collections, not the current. Also, bear in mind that many players are kids and teens that don't have income, so keeping prices low is easier on parents as well. A lot of people can't just drop 30 to 40 on some in-game cosmetics. Interesting. Again, this goes back to, like, if the collections were cheaper, would more casual players or teens or something be able to afford it compared to the 7K that it's currently at? Is that too high for casual players? Only whales can buy it, maybe? I don't know. That's interesting. What do you guys think? I quit AQ3D. It's been so crazy expensive after horse mounts arrived. 7K now for one collection. Then I heard someone said 42K without the discount. I'm like, what? I was so done. I can't be a happy camper with throwing money out like that. 4 to 5K was fair enough. AQ3D has lost touch. I quit AQ3D. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the pricing of collections. After I looked at this, I thought I should reword this so that it doesn't say, are they too expensive? I should have reworded it to say, what do you guys think of the pricing? Too expensive? Or I should have reworded it to make it better. So anyways, what do you guys think of the pricing in AQ3D, of just their general monetization? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.